Well, I thought I'd demo the ramming of a 3/4 inch ID, 7.5 inch long black powder charcoal spark Gerb. I've got my tube, my tooling, Gerb tooling, my nozzle clay, just cat litter. I have measured out about 2 or 3 ounces of the Gerb composition. I've got some 4FA black powder to use for the bounce, a couple little pieces of tissue paper, a funnel, and a 1/2 tablespoon measuring scoop. I've got my pounding post and my rawhide mallet, and I will just scoop out a heaping 1/2 tablespoon of the kitty litter. Use the nozzle forming rammer, and I give the nozzle about 16 good whacks. And at that point, yeah, I can just barely feel a little bit of a bulge forming in the tube where the nozzle was rammed. That's rammed good and solidly. And then I just ram increments of the propellant, the fuel, slightly rounded 1/2 tablespoons at a time, using the flat-ended rammer. About 8 whacks per increment of the propellant. And I'll fill the tube to within, an inch or 3/4 of an inch of the end with the fuel. Then I'll cap it off with the bounce charge and then a clay bulkhead. By the time I hit 5 or 6 whacks, I can really feel that fuel solidifying and compacting under the rammer, and it doesn't bounce much anymore, and it doesn't give anymore with additional whacks. This is not a particularly dusty comp, but if it was a little dustier, the rubber O-ring on the rammer really cuts down on the dust getting into the air. These increments end up being 3/8 of an inch to about a 1/2 inch tall. I like to shoot for increments in a device like this, or a rocket motor, that are about 1/2 to 2/3 of the tube ID tall. That increment is a little over, top of that increment's a little over an inch down in the tube, so I'll put another, a little bit of a smaller increment in there, ram it, and then do the bounce charge. So now I'm within 7/8 of an inch or so of the end of the tube. I will put a little piece of tissue paper down in there. That's completely covering the fuel grain. I'll sprinkle in just a little bit of black powder, just about 1/8 of an inch thick in there. I'll lightly compress that. I don't want to compress that real solidly. I want the flame to propagate through that black powder pretty rapidly when it hits it. So I just give that a little bit of a hand consolidation. Put the other piece of tissue paper atop that black powder charge. And then I will just ram my clay bulkhead. That only has to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. And there's a completed gerb ready for fusing and firing. Nice solid nozzle. I do like to scratch the propellant grain just lightly to make sure it's good and clean before fusing it.